Vignett's corner, beyond Bent. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are 18 minutes away from a Premiership return.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, clips it central for David Dunn. David Dunn equalises! It just had to be! Dack's corner and it goes, Glance towards goal! And Rovers have taken the lead! And Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season. It may well be the goal that sends Rovers back into the Championship.
Good evening, Rovers fans, and welcome to On the Other Side. Live with me, Ryan Hildred from Rovers Chat this fine Tuesday evening. It was defeat last time out for Rovers, a very, very frustrating, perhaps our most frustrating defeat of the season at home to Preston North End last Friday night. And it's going to be a tough ask to avoid 3 defeats in a row at Oakwell tomorrow evening as we play the underrated Barnsley at Oakwell tomorrow night. And it's the return leg we've all been waiting for. I was just chatting to you just then, Andy. We've been buzzing to get you back on the show, and we've got you now. We've got Barnsley fan Andy Symcox from the Red All Over podcast. You made a huge impression on us last time, Andy. How are you doing?
You tomorrow night.
I muted you. You'll have to go again. I muted you. There you go. There's a good start.
Can you hear me now, Mother? Can you hear me, Mother?
Now.
Nick. What? Do you know that's you all over, Ryan, so-called Hildred. No, you invite me on and then you mute me. What's that all about?
Do you know? I did it on purpose. I wanted to rile you up.
Do you do this to all the other fans from the other clubs? No, I bet you don't.
Just you. Just wanted to get a reaction.
Are you sure it's you that muted me and not Silent Dan? Because I know he's there. I know Silent Dan's there. I bet it's him, isn't it? I bet it's Silent Dan. Just because I call him Silent Dan. One day, he'll actually speak and I'll hear him. But, there we go. I'm very well. You get some tissues ready for tomorrow night. Because there'll be 3 on the trot for you. And I don't want you to cry too much. Just a little bit. Just the one tear. One tear. But a big one. A really big tear. But, no, I'm very well, thank you. Joking aside, thank you for having me back on. It's an absolute pleasure. I absolutely loved it last time. So it's
good.
It's a real pleasure.
Yeah, sorry for muting you at the start, but we are delighted to have you back. We've been waiting for this one. As soon as you left us last time, I was like, we can't wait for Barnsley away. So now it's here and we're happy. So, Andy, we'll just do the little visual check because I know you got your glasses with you. So can you see these comments rolling in at the bottom? Look, 𝐿𝐿𝐄𝐎𝐿 saying hello to you. So's Ethan. Sean saying hello to all Rovers fans. Luke saying hello to you. Look, Andy Symcox, come on down. Can you read these comments with them glasses on?
Now I've got my computer glasses on. Luke, you'll regret that, Luke. You'll regret it. But,
So Rovers fans, we'll just do some of the niceties at the start before we get into the match preview with Andy. So if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button. I don't know if you saw earlier, but we have now reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is really great news. So thank you to all of us that do tune in to all of our shows and have supported the channel throughout. We're really happy to get to that 1,000 now. So thank you all. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button now and join those 1,000 other people that have. If you're new to the channel as well and you're not following us on Twitter, we are Rovers_chat on Twitter. So give us a follow and you can stay up to date with all of our content. And as a little bonus for you tonight, Rovers fans, it's not Andy Symcox. We do have a little competition for you. So as it's Pancake Day, we're calling this Shrovers Tuesday. So not sure if this was Silent Dan that thought of this one, Andy. I think it could have been Joe, but someone thought of Shrovers Tuesday, which I think is great. So you can win a Rovers away shirt there if you just submit a pancake entry using the hashtag Shrovers Tuesday. We will be looking for the best, and then probably tomorrow we'll announce the winner of who's won this Rovers away shirt. And I have seen some of the entries, Andy. They are looking tip-top, actually. Better than my banana and treacle or whatever type of things that I do. So what do you have on your pancake usually? Andy, what do you have usually?
Just what's a bit of sugar and orange. That's what we've had at tea time. I'll tell you what, Rovers. Oh my stars! That you've beaten us. We've got a February competition, a red all over February competition where we have predictions throughout the season. But we did it in December. We'll do it again now in February. We've had someone that sponsored us to do just the predictions in February. A table, if you like, for the predictions in February to get money. And it's about for first, I think it's 50 quid, and then I think it's 20, and then 10 or 30 and 10, something like that. And the sponsor is somebody that we know well called Jed Taylor. So we haven't called it red all over competition. We've called it Jed all over competition. But I tell you what, Rovers is much better than
Well, I'm pleased to get your approving.
Won the NAF title easily.
I'll pass that feedback on to Dan or Joe. It was one of them two that came up with it. So
if it's Dan that's come up with it, sack him. Silent Dan needs to be silenced for good for that. Anyway.
So there's just one more thing, Andy, before we start. Just a reminder to our fans that we are sponsored by 𝐂𝐿𝐻𝐿.com.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 𝐂𝐿𝐻𝐿.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.
Thank you to 𝐂𝐿𝐻𝐿.com for their very, very kind sponsorship all season, and certainly towards the 1,000 subscribers that we've had all season. So, Andy, we're going to get into this match preview then. Enough of that nonsense at the start and talking about pancakes and Rovers and all of that. Let's get into talking about Barnsley. And I've already pre-warned you, I'm going to be filling you with loads of Silent Dan's graphics tonight, which, as usual, do look on point and tip-top. So we're going to bring those in and talk about those.
Can I ask you one thing before you do? Has he fact-checked as well? Has he fact-checked it? Because he was fact-checking me last time I were on. I weren't impressed with him, so I'm not Donald Trump. I weren't impressed with him. There he was. Oh, and you helped him. I'll fact-check that. Just because I talked about Soccer Dome and you didn't know, it's not good enough. I hope you got it exactly right. Otherwise, he'll get to know about it in the comments. I'll tell you now.
I think it was Luke, wasn't it? Luke.
I want all Rovers fans to keep fact-checking him and put up comments to say, no, you got that wrong, Silent Dan. But, if he gets it right, well done to him. We'll let him off.
Oh, Andy. So when you joined us last time, we spoke about Barnsley and the really good progress that you're making in the league since promotion back into the Championship. And actually, until I chatted to you, I hadn't quite appreciated the really good off-the-field plan that Barnsley have. And you spoke to me about how you fit the managers into the plan rather than the other way around. And that's now replicating into some really good results, isn't it? And that really high pressing play in an exciting young squad that you've got. So first and foremost, how are you feeling about the season and the job that Valérien Ismaël's doing?
Well, from the start of January, the results dipped a little bit. And it wasn't through a lack of play. We were playing all right, but we were creating plenty of chances, but we weren't clinical enough, so we weren't taking them. That's gradually changed. I have to say, like every fan in the world, there were two matches that we drew where we were robbed, absolutely robbed by penalties that we should have had and all that. It was just a disgrace. Flipping referees, who would have them? Well, you've got to have them, haven't you? But why do we have to have them? Anyway. Apart from that, we've played really well. We played well in the cup against Norwich, and were worthy winners. I honestly think worthy winners, and gave Chelsea a good run for the money. And they got. Well, I think it were a fluky goal. I think it were offside when he played it through to the winger. But there you go. Cardiff, we were 2-0 up against Cardiff, and they pulled 2 back, and that was disappointing. Then 0-0 at Nottingham Forest. Can't say Notts Forest because Mr. Daw gets upset if you say Notts Forest. It's Nottingham Forest. So I'll call them Notts Forest just to irritate him. We drew 0-0 at Notts Forest, and we should have won that. We were unlucky there. And then, of course, we've come good again. We did particularly well at Brentford. our good stamping ground. You know, last match last season we did them, and we did them again last Sunday. So it's looking better. It's starting to be that we're starting to reap the rewards of our play, because we are playing very, very well. As long as we can keep the energy levels up, we're playing well.
Yeah, it's certainly the Rovers fans picking up on that, Andy, if I bring up some of the comments here. So Derek, going to be a tough one tomorrow at Barnsley. They look good against Chelsea in the Cup, only lost by 1 goal. And then David Park, fair to say Barnsley were one of the better sides to face us at Ewood this year. You know, so Barnsley aren't going unnoticed, even though I think they might do in the kind of mainstream Sky Sports stuff that there is. And then, Andy, after surviving on the final day last season, Barnsley now do sit on 39 points in 12th place. And there's a host of clubs faltering around you, Rovers being one of them. Middlesbrough and Stoke are other clubs up there who are probably thinking about the playoffs. So with a good run of form, and 7 points isn't a massive gap in this division, isn't it? And you've got the game in hand. Are Barnsley dreaming of the playoffs?
Well, we've said this before. The trouble is, being a Barnsley fan, you've got to look at it in two ways. I'm an older Barnsley fan, so I've been following them for many, many years. So the first thing we want to do, and I know it's not fashionable, we want to avoid relegation. So we've got to get our view is we get 50 points and you can avoid relegation. So if we can get another 11 points, we'll not go down. And that's a good start. Anything after that is a great bonus. Who knows where it's going to take us. If we can, if we can win tomorrow night, it sets us up well. If we don't, we'll keep going. But mid-table is 12th, and we start dreaming. We beat Brentford, so we start getting a little bit giddy. Well, I do get more than a little bit giddy, and we start dreaming, don't we? And then you beat us tomorrow, and it'll be a thump back down to ground. But if you don't, if we beat you, then we'll be getting giddy again. I think we're doing an after-match show tomorrow night. So it'll either be we doomed Captain Mannering if you beat us, or if we win, we're going up. We're going up as champions. There's very little in between. I don't know. It's just one of them things. It's football all over, isn't it? But particularly in Barnsley. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not getting giddy. I've got a couple of people in our show, the younger ones, like you, Ryan. The younger ones are getting giddy. They're dreaming of 6th spot. They're dreaming. Me and Smithy, the two older ones, the Waldorf and the Tapper of the show. Nah, we're keeping our feet on the ground. We're not getting giddy. Get to 50 points, and then we'll see. Sorry,
I was just picturing you as Waldorf. Then that was quite wrong, wasn't it? So good image there.
It probably was Smithy, or like you might remember from before. We're both 66. No, he's 67. He's just a few months older than me. And by those 3 months are a big 3 months as far as I'm concerned. I've known him for 42 years, and
wow.
People, you have to watch one of our shows. He's got a daft look, just like watching Brazil at, and he's trying to attract younger viewers. So he puts it on backwards, he puts it on sideways, and people say he's either Norman Wisdom when he's got his hat on, take his hat off, and he looks just like Johnny Vegas. And it's not the first time he's been told he looks like Johnny. There's no fool like an old fool, Ryan, and he's old. That's all I'm saying. He's old.
Oh, brilliant. So, Andy, unsurprisingly, with Rovers and Barnsley in the same position in the league, here's your first of Silent Dan's graphics for you. This is your record against teams above you. And actually, if you were to show up a graphic for Rovers, it would look very similar. So from those 14 games that you've had against the sides above you, it's 9 losses, 2 draws, and just the 3 wins. But that did include that one at Brentford that you spoke about. And as I say, when you came on the show earlier on in the season, I spoke to you about how impressed I was with you at Ewood Park last season in the 3-2 game. And then I was impressed with you again in November when you came and lost that game as well. And that's been picked up by our viewers in the comments. So what's the reason that you're playing in these games, you're making a really good account of yourself, but you're not getting the result? Can you put your finger on that?
Well, it's a very silly thing, isn't it? Because I think I've said before, last year we were beating the sides up at the top, or getting good results against the teams in the top sort of 6 to 8, and beating them and losing to the sides that were around us in relegation, which put us in such danger. This season, it's been the other way. Apart from Norwich in the cup, which don't count in the league, obviously, and now Brentford and Watford, where we got deserved wins. I think we've been unlucky. There were some times when we've just been punished, and we're gradually getting better. We got hammered at home to Bournemouth 4-0, and that, I think it was on the television. That were embarrassing because we made mistakes, and I think we're learning from them. We seem to be learning from them. We used to make loads of mistakes last season, and we don't make as many this time. We're getting better. I think the players, although as we've said right at the start, we've got a strategy where we appoint the managers to fit the system or the style that we want to play, and it's, as it stands at the minute, it's particularly 4-3-4. Valérien Ismaël are starting to get his ideas over properly, and they know what they want to do. So our three strikers, and we change them. So don't expect. I will be absolutely amazed if the three strikers that start the match, whichever three it is, finish the match, because we've got a very big habit of changing them. Sometimes, like we did against Brentford, change them all at once, so that it keeps that energy level up. For the pressing, because we start defending right from the start. We press people. If you try and play out from the back, Ryan, we'll catch you out. We do that with teams that start playing from the back. If you don't, then it'll be different. But he's got his ideas, or his version of the 3-4-3. Is gradually ingraining it more and more into the players, and bringing other players in that will complement that system, and particularly complement the strikers. We signed a couple of strikers, which is a really positive thing to be able to maintain that. So it's going to be a good game. The only downside is because we played on Sunday, because we played on Thursday against Chelsea, then Sunday against Brentford. Tired legs, but the young lads. I think the average age of our team is, I think it's just over 22, and that's when we've got a defender on that's 30-year-old. Take him out, and it drops even more. So other teams like us, other clubs have under 23s. We have, but we've also got an under 23 team playing. So in the first team, so they're getting there. And they show that they can play football. When they pass it, they're outstanding. Sometimes, as young players do, we lug it forward sometimes a little bit too much. Now, as I've said to you, we've signed two more strikers that are big, tall target men, which we hadn't had all season until very recently, and that'll be interesting because we're starting to win balls in the air, which we haven't done before. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. No, it is, and I've just got another graphic just to show you here, Andy. So we've done this for the teams that we've been previewing on this show through the season. So it's just a little summary table, just shows you how you compare against the Championship. And Barnsley are a fascinating side. As I say, I've really picked up on that pressing game in the few times that I've seen you at Ewood Park, and then some of the games that I've picked you up. But these are your stats at home this season. This is just 𝐂𝐿𝐻. That pressing style is really evident. That bottom one, interceptions per game. You're the league highest there, and overall you're the highest as well, across home and away fixtures. But surprisingly, a little lower in terms of percentage possession, goals and shots per game, not as high as as I would have thought that would have been. So does it feel like Barnsley are quite close to being a really dangerous side in this division, Andy? You're not far off, are you?
No, we're not. I wouldn't want you to think that just because our relatively low possession percentage means that we're defending a lot and then hitting teams on the break, because that's not the case. We pen people back, and we saw against Brentford that Brentford had a fair bit of the play, but it was all in their own penalty area or just outside their own penalty area. Against Chelsea, there were a time for about the first 15 minutes, I think Chelsea got into our penalty area once, and hardly in our half of the pitch, because you can have the ball in your own penalty area and we'll chase you down until you make a mistake. And that's what we do. So don't be fooled by the statistics. I've got another one for Silent Dan if you want, that I saw today. That out of sorry Dan. Barnsley. You watch. I'm very loath to say this for obvious reasons, because you know what happens when you start saying something. Barnsley are the only club, so I'm told, the only club in the Football League that have not conceded a goal from the 80th minute onwards, in the last 10 minutes of a game. Wow. So I hope we're winning 2-0 by then. But you watch. your mate Adam, he'll go down like a good one and get a penalty. You watch. He'll tumble down and get a penalty. Or somebody will. Bradley Dack was making his comeback into bit by bit. They'll go down in box. You'll get a penalty in the last 10 minutes. Now I've opened my soft mouth. Dan's not the only one with the statistics, Is that?
It was a good one. That impressive. I hadn't quite picked up on that one. So that's a good one, Andy. So if we look back at the game at Ewood Park in November, then Andy, and then also that Chelsea game that you did speak about there, these are just the basic stats from the game. So if we just focus on the Rovers game, the 2-1 win that we had at Ewood, again, I was really impressed with you. Rovers had 62% possession in that game, but we just had the 7 shots and 6 of those on target. Looking back, I was gobsmacked to see that you'd had 23 shots in the game. Maybe the reason I was gobsmacked is because only 5 of them were on target. So what was your reaction after that game at Ewood Park? Did you feel a bit hard done by in that game? What were your thoughts?
Oh, it's very simple. We were robbed. A bit of trickery out on the touchline. A lovely, wherever it was, back heel or drag back. 2 defenders stood there like planks either side of him. Instead of udging him over the line, they let him get between them and then cross it and then, get Adam in that sort of position. We've seen it to talk. Well, we know what he's going to do, and he did it. So I think we panicked a little bit when we pulled the goal back pretty late on. But I think the damage was done with that goal. Really good by the wide player. Really good bit of play, but poor defending for that particular move. Poor defending. So. That
was the Armstrong goal, wasn't it? I think Nyambe got down the right and then pulled it back for Armstrong. And I think there was a chance just before that, actually, wasn't there, where Armstrong should have scored, a similar chance to that as well. So, but Rovers, we are a side that has to get the first goal. Had you got the first goal in that game, could have been a totally different story because we have really struggled when conceding first this season. So if we move on to the recent form, then Andy, again, here's another one. It's always good to just have a look at this. You grabbed those plaudits recently with that impressive display against Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea. Oh yeah, I saw on your Red All Over channel as well, you trying to pronounce Thomas Tuchel or Tuchel. How are you pronouncing it? Let me take this off.
You had to ask, didn't you?
I did.
I've had so much stick over it because just like this, you get put on thing and think, what? How do you pronounce? I think it's Tuchel, but I have no idea.
I think it's Tuchel. Tuchel or Tuchel. We'll accept either of those in Dictionary Corner, so we'll have either of them.
Called him Turtle in the end and Trickle in the end because I just tickle and trickle because I just went completely from me. Tuchel. I'm going with Tuchel anyway. I don't want to disrespect anybody just because I don't know what I'm talking about. So
it's good. I like it, Andy. It's good. It shows you're human, mate. So if we flash these stats back up, so you had that good, impressive display in defeat against Chelsea, which isn't on here because it's just the league games, and then Sunday against Brentford. So the last 8 league games have been fairly okay. You've got 3 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws from the last 8 games. And incidentally, Rovers have had exactly the same record, and it feels like Rovers have had a really up and down season, and particularly the last 2 that we've lost after starting 2021 really well. So what's it been like watching Barnsley recently, particularly over these last 8 games?
It's been enjoyable. Enjoy watching them anyway. Sometimes if we've given the ball away, earlier on in the season, like I said earlier, we give the ball away too much, clog it forward, and we've not been holding it up. Our strikers are decent strikers. They put themselves about quickly and they close people down, but they've not always been the tallest. So, they're not the tallest. So we've struggled in the air. So that means that, as a target man, it's been hard to keep it up there. We've done something about that in January, and I'm really pleased about that. Even the ones we've lost, I honestly think, I'm biased, biased. I think we've played really well. It's always, this season has been a pleasure to watch them, except for when only 2 matches were at home to Bournemouth and away to Cardiff when we were beaten quite considerably. At Cardiff we were bullied off the pitch. That'll never happen again. They've learned from that, and that's a really positive thing. So yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to watch them. And I think they're playing well. They're playing well. Not always got the rewards that they should have had this January, from January onwards. But hopefully it's coming good, and we'll see in the next couple of matches. See, we're playing Bristol City on Saturday as well. who again are on, if I remember right, I think they're on 39 points with us all.
They're joint with us as well, yeah.
So it's a very tight league, and I honestly think that anybody can beat anybody. So even Wycombe and Rotherham and what have you, and Sheffield Wednesday down the bottom, even they've been picking up some hiccups me. Even they've been picking up some good results. So anybody can beat anybody in this division. So as we showed last Sunday, and Preston showed at Ewood Park. Sorry, couldn't help it. Why are you silent? You're silent. Have I stirred Silent Dan into talking? Oh my goodness!
I don't know where he is. I hope he's watching. If you're there, Dan, let us know. I know that Andy was hoping you'd be here. So if we move on to the game itself then, Andy, and thinking back to those stats that we just showed, is this going to be a game where Barnsley really try and impose themselves on Rovers with that really high effective pressing that you do play at home in particular? How are you going to approach the game, do you think?
I think we'll do exactly that. It'll be a high press. It's what we do, whether we're at home or away. It's what we do. If we try and sit back and catch other teams on the break, it don't work. We lose. If you get to somebody too much respect, we'll lose. So I think we've all come to realise that the only way is to press. It all boils down to if the energy levels can be kept up, and we've had a lot of tough games, and they're coming thick and fast. I think we've got something like 7 games in 21 days. That's a heck of a lot for football. With the FA Cup and what have you. It's a lot of football, and I know people say footballers, that's all they do, isn't it? That's all they do. It's not a proper job, is it? It's a job you enjoy. Playing at that intensity every 3 days, when the glycogen levels, you only start gaining them back after 2 days. It's putting a lot of strain on players, not just Barnsley, on Rovers as well. So it's not easy. If we've got the energy, and I think Valerian sorts it out, particularly with the front three, so that he changes them during the match to keep that energy level up. That's what we'll do. I'd be very disappointed if we didn't, and I can't believe that we do anything other than continue to a very high press. So either you'll need to go longer, or if you mess about in your own penalty area, trying to play it out to the to the centre half of the side of the goalkeeper and all that, you'll get caught out. It'll come.
Yeah, and the stats back that up, and just what you were saying about injuries there, Andy, as well. I think the game's coming thick and fast after that really disjointed pre-season and the different months of the year where games have been played where they're not usually. It's all catching up, isn't it? And every fan I've spoken to this season, injuries have been rife in all sides. We've all had to deal with it and cope with it. So, as you say, hopefully the players can kind of get through this period. So Andy,
Ryan, our pitch has started. We've always had a smashing pitch, but this season it's cutting up something rotten, and that's because normally we, the last match of the season, as soon as everybody's left the stadium, they start taking the pitch up and start laying a new one, and a completely new one, and let it grow and what have you, so it comes back fresh and what have you. Obviously, this season that's not happened, and it shows. Our pitch is nothing like it should be. So, especially get some rain like we've been having and snow, and it cuts up, and oh God, dear me. So,
yeah, ours is the same. So our groundsman came out and just said because they've not had the usual growing season and all of that, it's just all caught up with it. And our first team trained on the home pitch as well because the training ground was frozen. So that's added to it. So yeah, it's a shame. So, Andy, it's not just Dan who's been preparing graphics for us tonight. You are well with your predicted 11, although with a little bit of help from Dan. I've been asking all my guests this season just to talk through what they think the predicted side is going to be tomorrow. So I think Dan's got this right for you in that 3-4-3 formation that you spoke about. So do you want to just talk us through your side and, who are going to be causing problems for Rovers tomorrow?
I think that... I'm not sure that's going to be the side. You put me on, Silent Dan put me on the spot to say the front three could be. There's another three. It could just as easily be Adebayo, Freesia, and Carlton Morris. I hope Carlton Morris starts, to be honest, because he's looking a decent player to me. But it could be any of them. I think you'll need to be careful if we get set plays, because we send up the centre halves, and 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿 is getting on the end of a number of things, so he's quite dangerous. Obviously, Cauley Woodrow's our top scorer. He's not scored as many as Adam, but you know he's been in and out. 𝐷�𝐿𝐿, which I'll talk about later if you want, has just come from Orlando City. He's only 20, but he's some unit. He's a quick, strong lad, tall, strong lad, and when he gets into the way of things, he will cause some problems. And Connor Chaplin he's only scored 3 goals this season, but he's like a bee buzzing around people, like a wasp. It irritates people no end, and he closes. I've never seen anybody close anybody down as quickly as Connor Chaplin does. He's there all along. So to watch the ones I wouldn't be bothered about if I were you, I won't bother marking them or anything like that. As the 2 wing backs, Callum Styles and Callum Britton. If I were you, I'd just let them go down the ring down the wings unopposed, and don't worry about them. Let them put crosses in, because they'll be rubbish crosses, so I won't bother about them. In fact, I'll go as far as to say I won't even mark our front 3, because if they get a chance, they'll miss it. You know, so just leave them to it. You know, just sit and have a cup of tea while they cross it and try and get on the end of it, and you know, leave it at that. So yeah, the wing backs up and down. Callum Britton got from MK Dons. He's been a revelation. He's outstanding. You know, he's very quick, and he's puts a lovely cross in. So watch for them. Of course, Mowat runs our midfield, and if it's Palmer, it could be Ramal Palmer, who's a young lad who's come through our ranks. He's going to be a decent player. He's only come through this season. He's going to be a decent player, and he changes sometimes with 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿, who we signed from Liverpool. I think Ramal's just got it on Herbie at the minute, but they interchange sometimes. So you have to watch for them. If Herbie's on, watch for long throws. That's what I'd say, because we send our big men up on long throws. And if Dominic Freezer, who tend to be wide on the right, if he's on, he's got a pretty long throw. They're not as long as such as Rory Delap or anything like that. They don't reach the far post, but with the tall defenders going up, they can create a bit of problem. So that'll be the thing. So don't bother with the wing backs. Don't bother with them. Leave them to it. Just let them run past you. They'll, you know, I won't worry too much about them.
Well, David Park obviously picking up on how well Styles and Britton have played. I remember you picking out Styles last time you joined us, Andy. They do look a couple of cracking players, and we've just signed a left back from Crewe, Harry Pickering. So we're hoping to get some of this attacking wing play out of our fullbacks, probably next season in particular when Pickering's in our side. So I think if you can have wing backs, fullbacks pushing forward like those two, it really does help your attacking play, doesn't it? Yeah. And, you know, in terms of long throws and stuff into the box, I think Mads Anderson was really unlucky, wasn't he? Ewood Kaminsky just clawed that save out of the top corner in the second half, cracking save. So, you know, you were unlucky there. And then just to look into your season stats just a little bit here, Andy. Oh, let me just get rid of that comment. There we go. Cauley Woodrow is the top goal scorer with 9. Then you got Mowat on 4, and then Styles and a couple of others on 4. Woodrow also the top assist maker with 4 as well. And then 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿, Anderson and Styles getting some high ratings across who scored. So, you know, these are names that you've been picking out of that side there. I'll just pick up on something David said earlier on, actually. Woodrow has signed a contract extension, has he? So how happy are you about that at Barnsley?
Yeah, signed it right early on in the season, and that is good. Of course, it's the Barnsley way. It's the Barnsley when he signed right at the start of the season, because everybody expected him to go. Well, I didn't. A lot of people expected him to go because it's what we do and all that. We're a selling club. The fact that we haven't sold anybody in the last 3 transfer windows escapes us, because we used to selling them. It was a big fill-up, but of course, if you're a Barnsley fan, you get used to hearing comments like, "Oh, he's only signed so we can get more money for him in January," and you know you can't win. He's committed himself to the club, and I think it'll take a really, really big offer to prize him away. And I hope he don't, because he's turned into one of the legends at our club, and good luck to him. Alex Mowat, the same. His contract is up at the end of the season. He's the only player whose contract's properly up at the end of the season without an option to continue. And I sincerely hope, as our captain, that he does sign a new contract, because he's been outstanding for us. Well, you know, If he doesn't, we'll wish him well. I just hope he does, because he's a player and a half in that centre of midfield. So you'll see. Tick, makes us tick.
Yeah, and I think there's quite a few players in the Championship this season out of contract, aren't they? It's going to be a really interesting summer. We've got some key players who we need some contract decisions out of, so we'll see what happens. And Andy, before we move on to some of the final questions, then, if there are going to be areas of weakness for Rovers to try and exploit tomorrow, where are we going to try and hurt you? Where could we hurt you tomorrow night?
Does any of your coaching staff watch this? Because if they do, I ain't saying anything. My lips are sealed. I'm saying.
I don't know. I don't think they do.
Oh, in that case, that's so. They don't watch ours. In that
case, are you a member
of
the Barnsley coaching team?
Only from the sofa. And I'll tell you what, if they realised how good I was from the sofa, I'll make substitutions at the right time. I'm the best defender that there is from my sofa. And I score every chance that we get from my sofa. I do nothing wrong. So they haven't recognised it. They haven't recognised it yet. I'm waiting for. I know I'm going off the subject a bit. On our show, just before the Chelsea match, so a week or so ago, we had our under-23s coach, who's a Barnsley legend, Martin Devaney, or Devaney, as he's sometimes called. We always call him Devaney. He was the one that famously, when we beat Chelsea in the cup those years ago, that famously put the crossings at a right wing. They put the cross in for for us to win 1-0 basically. And bless her, 𝐏𝐻𝐿 put it in. So we had him on, and after thanking him because it was a brilliant cross, I played hell up with him, because by doing that we got into the FA Cup semi-final. So all my family had to go to Wembley. I had to buy shirts for them. I had to buy tickets, travel expenses, food. And I told him, he cost me an absolute hundreds of pounds, a fortune he cost me, just by doing one good cross. And yeah, so I played hell up with him. And he said, "You'd do it again, wouldn't you?" I said, "Oh, yeah." "Oh, yeah, I'd do it." Of course, we lost. So, yeah, so it's funny being a fan, isn't it? Ups and downs, it's funny.
It is. I'm going to bring in Luke's comment from earlier, because I was going to ask this a bit later. But as you've just spoken about your family, Luke remembers when you were talking about your moaning, miserable brother. So any other anecdotes that you want to give us this time round?
Oh, well, flipping heck. My brother. I've got a son, Jonathan, who's now 40. And, oh, dear me. He's a wrong one. He really... The thing that makes me laugh, is that there's four of us now. We had more of the family went, but there's now the four of us. So there's me and my brother, and then my son Jonathan, and my grandson who's 8, Jack. And we all try to position ourselves so we're not sat next to Jack, because when we sat at the ground, Jack's saying, "What? Was that offside? Why did he do that? Was that?" None of us, we say, so my son, because he's a good dad, will say, "It's this Jack and it's that Jack." And me and my brother Howard just say, "Jack, shut up. We're watching the match. Talk at half time." So of course, I've still got my brother complaining and moaning for England. Even though we're not sat, where I get throughout the matches, I'm flipping it throughout the matches. He's emailing me throughout the flipping match. So I'm having to look away from the television to read his email, to hear him moaning on a flipping email. So that's not good enough. And of course, Jonathan, he comes on the show. He's been on the show a few times. And oh, bless him. I tell you, we had the December competition with the predictions, and I won it. Ryan. I was the top. Bro, I'm on the flipping show. I went till it was 30 quid then. Did I get it? No. So it was 30 quid, 20 quid, 10 quid, first, second, and third. Did I get anything? No. But to make matters worse, the fact that I'm on the show, so it wasn't me that could win it. So instead of first, second, and third, it was second, third, and fourth that got the money. Guess who finished and got my money? My flipping son. So, so I disowned him. He's done. He's begging to come back, so he's not getting another penny. He's done.
Absolutely. Fantastic, that, Andy. Luke's commented here. What a story. So, couple of cracking stories there. They were the ones that everyone was waiting for again tonight, Andy. You know, and whilst we're all in lockdown and life's as miserable as this, it's good to have you on and make us smile.
I'll tell you, I've got some photographs. When we, I mean, it's a few years ago now. We went to Wembley twice in one season. We won the brilliant, oh dear, the brilliant Johnson's Paint Trophy, and we've still got it because we were the last winners of it. Oh dear! You see, you can win your Premier Leagues, but you've never won the Johnson's Paint Trophy, and you never will. So you might think you're a big club, but Johnson's Paint Trophy. Anyway, so we were there, and we won that. We beat Oxford 3-2, and we did well to do that, to be honest. And then we went back shortly afterwards to play Millwall in the League One playoff final and beat them 3-1. And I took a photograph, as you do with the family, for posterity. And my brother at 3-1, and he's blown the final whistle, looked as miserable as sin. I've never seen. I'll see if I can drag it out, and I'll send it to Silent Dan. I have never seen anything. Look, talk about Mr. Glum, and we'd won. So you'll see if I can get that photo and send it to Dan. You'll see that's him when we've won and got promoted. So it gives you some idea of what I have to put up with. It's not right. It's just not right.
Oh, that is so good, so good. Yeah, send the picture to Dan and we'll have a look at that. We could maybe tag it onto this video for the little YouTube preview or something. You can have his name in lights.
Oh, he'll love that. Oh, he'll appreciate that. Like, oh dear me, never mind. Teaching.
So before we do our score prediction, Andy, so you know, I've made it clear that I think Barnsley are really underrated in this division, and I think you go under the radar a little bit. And Rovers have actually grabbed the headlines at times, you know, with all the goals that we scored earlier on in the season and things. So, you know, first and foremost, how have you viewed Rovers this season? You know, when you've seen these headlines, you've seen us play, you know, what have you made to our start to the season? Where do you think we should be? Do you think we should be higher in the division? You know, what's your thoughts on Rovers?
Well, I know that Adam Armstrong's getting all the plaudits, and rightly so, because he's been scoring a lot of goals throughout the season. But they don't come out of thin air. You know, he's not created every single one himself. So there's other players involved in that. You know, the goal scorers take the plaudits, don't they? You know, but people that make the goals, they need to get a bit more. And the defence, you're on 39 points. You know, we think we've done really well this season. We've pulled it up. You know, through beating Brentford to be 39 points, same as you. But you know, for us, it's really good to be at this stage of the season and have 39 points. So you can hardly say that you've had a poor season, because you haven't. You were poxy against us, to put it mildly. My goodness, you were lucky. So it wouldn't have been 39 points, would it? Oh no. We'd have been above you. But anyway, that's a part. I think, and I've said to you before, I know he's coming back from injury, and maybe he's not quite, I don't know, maybe he's not quite where he is at his best, but I really rate, I've always rated Bradley Dack, and he's one of the players that I've always wished that we could have signed. Obviously, we never have. Whether he's still the same player after he had a pretty bad injury, I think, hasn't he? So we quite liked, although I didn't think he was brilliant, but we quite liked when we had Joe Rothwell on loan a number of years ago, and he were a tidy player for us, you know. But he wasn't. He's one of those players that's not an outstanding player, and doing all the glory things. You know, he went scoring 20 goals and all that. But for us, he looked tidy in midfield, and from what I've seen, it looks the same for you. That's how it looks to me. But you know, you might say different. And of course, I don't know if he's playing much. I've not seen much. Is Harry Chapman injured, or is he playing?
He's gone on loan now to Shrewsbury. Actually, he's had a couple of long-term injuries. So you know, really been unlucky. But yeah, he's gone on loan to Shrewsbury now, and actually scoring goals for Shrewsbury and doing really well for them. So,
well, if you want one last story about my brother Howard, always when he was on loan to us, he got the crowd excited whenever he got the ball. He used to call him the golden child, because he always created something. So I hope he can get his career back on track, because he's a quick and clever player. So I hope so. I hope he does well at Shrewsbury and comes back to you, all the better for it. We'll see.
Yeah, he's out of contract in the summer, so we'll see. But I want him to do well, because he's had some real rough luck with injuries, and he had a really bad hamstring injury, similar to what Michael Owen did when he was really young. One where I think you tear it off the bone, and it's a really bad one to come back from. And I think he's just had a number of setbacks, and then players have come into our side and cemented positions. We've got Harvey Elliott now on loan for Liverpool. He's not competing with him, so hopefully he can find that form. Maybe we'll sign him in the summer. I don't know, but I wish him well as well, because he did light it up for us for half a season in League One, or just less than half a season.
I'll tell you one other thing, Ryan. That's we've talked about how our strategy now we're going about things. We don't have any. We've only got one player on loan at Oakwell. We've loaned a number out. We've only got one player on loan, and that's the new one from Orlando, Daryl 𝐷𝐿, and that's with. We'll see how he goes. He's only 20. We'll see how that goes. That's with a view to buying him. The rest are all on pretty decent contracts, lengthwise and what have you. So we've clearly, a few years ago when people were raving that we were doing this and we were doing that and playing well and all that, a lot were on loan, and so come the end of the season, you're starting again. We've changed that strategy, and we have very few players on loan. Now and again, we'll have a player on loan. We had Matty James for 3 months from Leicester, who's now gone to Crewe, and he's one of the very few players that we've had on loan. So it seems to be working, that level of stability, which is what we've needed for a while.
And it's we've spoken about it on our streams as well. I think if you can get that core of players who have a sell-on value as well, that you get them down onto the long contracts, you can sell them just to tidy your club over, every year to 18 months, just to keep keep it going. I think if you loan intelligently, like Rovers have, to be fair, we've had some brilliant loans from the Premier League, and that is a sustainable model. So the contracts is the big one, and having some good assets. If you needed to sell Callum Styles, for example, you're going to generate some cash from that, aren't you? So, it's important. So then, Andy, we've, as I say, we've spoken about this off-field plan for Barnsley, and you've spoken about 𝐷𝐿. Were there any other notable signings in January, or was he just the only one?
Yeah, we signed from Norwich. We signed. I think he's an old player. He's 25, I think. We signed Carlton Morris. Carlton
Morris. Yeah,
he's looking. He's been unlucky since he's been with us. He's only been with us for a few weeks, but of course he's cup tied, so he wasn't able to play against Norwich in the cup, and then Chelsea in the cup. So he's stopped and started. Coming on as a substitute. He started for the first time against Brentford, and he looks some player. He looks a confident, strong lad that will fit our model of playing very, very well. So they're the main two for me. We've signed Liam Kitchen, who's he's cross. He's injured. Liam's injured at the minute, and he's a sort of left-sided centre half or left back, left wing back, and what have you. But he's injured, so he's on a decently long contract. So that's it's what happens, but it's so funny that we've got Dominic Freezer and now we've got a Kitchen to put him in. So, people make all sorts of thoughts about kitchens and freezers and what have you. So, I don't know. Well, they're the three that we bought.
We've come up against Carlton Morris before, actually. He was up front for Shrewsbury when we were down in League One. He was up front for them, so we've come up against him before. So we'll see how he does. So we've reached a part of the show, Andy, where I'm going to put you and I on the spot with our score predictions. That is now the cue for the Rovers fans now to stream into the comments and let us know what their score prediction is as well. I'll just give you some of the comments that we've had just as you were talking, though, Andy. So we've had El Scotty, who was chuckling away to your stories about your brother there. Mark Whittle, wish we played Barnsley every week just to have Andy on here. And then bit of Barnsley trivia here for you from Brian. Massive game tomorrow. My brother-in-law is the son of ex-Barnsley captain Eric Winstanley.
Well, can I just tell you this? Let me tell you this then, Ryan. I know you want to move on. Let me tell you this. Eric Winstanley was my hero at Oakwell. I can remember being a small child or a young lad going to watch him under floodlights, and we were playing. He was centre half for Barnsley. We were playing Watford, who were a big club at that time at Oakwell, and we were losing 3-0 at half-time. And as teams lowered, we put Big Eric up front, and he scored a hat-trick. He was easily my hero. And when we got promoted to the Premier League under Danny Wilson, you know, the ones, the ones, but it were a big one. Eric was our first team coach, and he's absolutely revered at Oakwell, absolutely revered, and especially by me and my pal Smithy that had the privilege, and I do mean privilege, of watching Big Eric play. So I wish him and his family all you know, all the best wishes in the world. Stunning player and a lovely man.
Brilliant. Thanks for sharing that, Brian. Obviously, someone who Andy thinks very highly of there. It's always nice when we can do a little link like that. So, Andy, we've started having some score predictions coming through from the Rovers fans. So if you've not done your prediction yet, please get it in and I'll run through them in a moment. But I'm going to start with you, Andy. What is your prediction for tomorrow evening's game? What are you thinking?
Well, it's funny. Being a Barnsley fan, like I said to you, we beat Brentford and we all get giddy. So we all think we're all gonna win and win handsomely. If we'd have lost, then obviously it's doom and gloom and you're going to beat us. We've had 53 predictions so far on our club. Before I get to mine, 2 for a draw, 1 for a defeat, and the rest have been for victories. And they're all either 3-1. I know. Let me look. They've all been 2-0. 15 people have said 2-0, and 14 people have said 2-1. They're the big predictions. So we did our show for tomorrow's match. Not long after the Brentford match. So I were getting giddy because I usually said 2-1 and keep my fingers crossed and hope, because that's why they call my colleagues on Red All Over call me 2-1 Andy, and they always have, because that's where I predict. I think, you know, we're going to give a daft goal away, or referee will give a daft goal away. So I went 3-1 then, but that's because I were giddy, Ryan. So I'm trying to. Now it's a few days later. I've stopped being giddy. We're gonna. Well, I'm saying I'm going to stop being giddy. We're absolutely going to thrash you. You know, get ready. Somebody's on. You saw how many shots we have on. How many shots we have. We're going to tomorrow night. We're going to absolutely thrash you. So get ready. We're going to thrash you 2-1.
I actually thought you were going to say something like 3 or 4-0 then, and then you went 2-1.
I know. 2-1.
Oh, I've seen some of these scores coming through, and someone's poking a little one at you in a minute, Andy. I'll show you this in a sec. My prediction. Well, you know my opinion on Barnsley. I think you are a very underrated side and a very dangerous side on your day as well. And I think we did cope with the press well at times at Ewood Park, but I think at Oakwell and with our recent form and just some of the stuff that's going on in our club, might be a difficult night's work tomorrow. I think we can squeeze a draw, though. I'm going to say 1-1, Andy. I'm not feeling too optimistic. I think you're a dangerous side. So 1-1, I'm going to say. I'm saying a draw. I'm going on the fence, which is probably what you expected from me.
I thought you'd said that you'd hammer us. Oh, what the supporter are you, Ray? Do you know, when I was young, there were none of this 2-1, oh, it might be 1-0. Oh, you know, it could be 2-2, or it could be 1-2, it could be that. When I was young, we're gonna. You asked the kid when I was 6 and 7 year old, we're gonna thrash him 10-0 every week. How do you think we're gonna do it? 10-0. And nowadays, you get young'uns nowadays, so I think we'll scrape it 2-1. It's you know, kids today. Ryan, come on, 1-1.
That's right.
Have some faith in your team.
Can you just remind me of your score prediction again?
2-1. A thrashing.
We'll just run through these. Luke's gone 3-1 Rovers. More hope than anything else. Mark's gone 2-1 Barnsley.
Good lad.
Ethan's gone 3-1 Barnsley.
He knows what he's talking about, that lad.
Gillis has gone 2-1 Rovers, but I'm too optimistic.
He is.
Here you go. Here's the one poking a bit of fun at you. 2-1 Rovers. Rovers winning in the last 10 minutes. Good one.
Nailed on, Ryan. Nailed on.
I like it. And then 𝐿𝐻𝐃𝐄𝐎 has gone 1-0 Barnsley, unfortunately. So you've done a very good job of scaring our fan base, Andy, because I must say that's that's one of the, I think, as a set of predictions, probably one of the least optimistic we've had all season. You know, plenty of people predicting a Barnsley win. So you can see what type of form we're in at the moment and the feeling in our fan base. So it's going to be a difficult afternoon tomorrow, or difficult evening, sorry.
You're playing the Johnson Paint Trophy holders. That's what you do. No wonder they're scared. Johnson's Paint Trophy. You can't get better than that.
I'm really disappointed, you know, when we had our League One season. I was like, right, if we're down in League One, let's go and win this bloody trophy. And we went out in the group stage. I was livid. So Tony has gone 3-1 Barnsley. Oh, there's another one. And then Luke, come on, Ryan, 1-1. What a cop-out. Where's your 10-0? It is a cop-out, Luke. I'm saying a draw. It's an optimistic draw. If I said what I really thought, I'd be predicting a Barnsley win, but I just can't do it. So I'm saying draw. I think it's going to be a tough game. So there we go. That is it, Andy. As I thought it would be, it's a show that's nearly taken an hour because you just make us laugh and make us chuckle. So it's been an hour that's absolutely flown by. So thank you for joining us again on our show. Really appreciate you having you on the show, and you make us laugh, as I say.
It's an absolute pleasure, Ryan. Oh, can I just say this, though? You've got Silent Dan helping you. I've got 𝐿𝐻𝐃𝐃𝐄𝐎, our mascot, with me. But I've started calling him Silent Toby. So.
Well, we'll tell Dan that. You need to send him a picture of that as well. If you're not watching, Dan, then you'll have to get this on the catch-up. But thank you, Andy. And Rovers fans tuning in, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, then please hit that subscribe button. As I say, we're really ecstatic that we got to 1,000 subscribers earlier. So we're going to keep giving you that content all season. Thanks, Andy. And hopefully your channel will get there soon. Are you near 1,000? Where are you at?
We've had a rush this month. We've had over 100 this month. We're on when I last looked, we're on 854.
So you're getting close.
We're on our way. You know, we've got about 110 this month. You know, the last 14 days. So it's, you know, if we can reach the heady heights like you have at 1,000 by the end of the season, be thrilled to bits. You know,
keep doing it, Andy. Keep doing what you do because you make us laugh from afar as well. So just keep doing what you're doing, and I'm sure the followers will come.
It's very humbling, Ryan. It's very humbling that number of people want to listen to the daftness that you talk. You know, both Rovers fans and Barnsley fans. It's really nice that and humbling that people are that. You know, it helps in, you know, lockdown. It's not great for anybody. Not being able to get to football, it's not great for anybody. So you know, if we can cheer people up, then that's what matters, isn't it? And keep us connected to our clubs. It's a good thing.
That's it. And really perfect timing you've just said there, Andy, because we've got one of our fans who is in Tasmania, Australia, Dizzy Thumbs, who is late. We'll let you off, Dizzy, because God knows what time it is where you are. So we'll let you off. If you want to get your score prediction in, you've probably got about a minute before I'm going to close the live stream. So if you want to get a live prediction in and then watch the video on catch up, then please do. Yeah.
We've got a guy called Tony Carlson from Sweden who will be watching this. He's a Barnsley fan though, so don't get too excited. He's watching this. He couldn't wait to watch this. So well done, Tony. And if he hasn't watched it, then I'm going to look daft. But if Tony's watching
Tony.
Well done, Tony.
Is that him there? He's got 3-1, hasn't he?
All right, let me look.
Get your glasses on.
That's our Tony. Well done, Tony. Well done,
there
Tony.
We go. Nice when we get people across on the channel as well. We've had Swansea fans and QPR fans on here before as well. It's all one big football family, isn't it? So that's good. Yeah. And Dizzy has come in with his prediction. There we go. He's gone 2-0 Rovers. So we're going to end on that prediction, I think, Andy. There you go. Dizzy's not watching the preview yet, has he?
He is Dizzy, isn't he? Get your tissues ready, Dizzy. You watch. You'll be able to call me names in your after show. You'll be able to call me names when you beat us 2-0. Both goals in the last 10 minutes. You watch. It's nailed on now.
Autumn's picked up on it as well. Guess who had a word that Andy said? Heard a word Andy said. So yeah, Dizzy, give the video a watch. See what you think. I think it's going to be a difficult game tomorrow, but let us know what you think. And yeah, Rovers fans, if you're not following us on Twitter, it is Rovers_chat on Twitter. And just a reminder on the little competition that we're doing. It is Rovers Tuesday, which I know Andy loves our little strap line that we've got on there. So if you've not had your pancakes yet, you've still got time. Submit a pancake entry using the hashtag Rovers Tuesday, and we'll look for the best one and announce that winner probably tomorrow as well. So there we go. 1 hour and 1 minute, Andy. What an absolute pleasure. So I'll leave you to the rest of your evening now. We're going to end the stream there. Enjoy the game tomorrow. And as I say, thanks ever so much for joining us. And Rovers fans, thank you for sticking with us for the hour. We've been waiting to get Andy on. It's happened now. So yeah, we'll all enjoy the game tomorrow. And I'll leave you with the 6 yards out video. Thanks, Andy. And see you later, Rovers fans.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 𝐂𝐎𝐿𝐿.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.